Đây, mau. Saya tidak.
Good evening, distinguished invitees, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the ceremonial induction of the 84th General President of the Sri Lanka Association for the Advancement of Science. So ladies and gentlemen, as you would probably have had an inkling, the guest of honor has arrived and the members of the council are being introduced to him, and thereafter the ceremonial procession will proceed this way, and I kindly request you to please stand as the procession enters the hall. Probably see on your screen the members of the council proceeding towards the hall. Led by the treasurer and the assistant treasurer of SLAAS, followed by the editors. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the traditional lighting of the oil lamp will take place. I have the pleasure in inviting the following distinguished persons for this purpose. Our guest of honor today, Professor Gomika Udugamasuriya, General President of SLAAS for 2024, Professor Udeni P. Nawagamuwa, the outgoing General President of SLAAS, Professor Ramani D. Vijayasekara, the General President-elect of SLAAS, Dr. Parakrama Valigamage, and Professor Ruchira Kumaranatunga, who will be doing the introduction of the General President today, the General Secretaries of SLAAS, Dr. Russell De Silva, Dr. Iresha Athanayaka, the Treasurer of SLAAS, Professor Dilrukshi Vijayaratna, and also the Vice Chancellors of the following universities. University of Moratuwa, Professor Niranjan Gunawardena, University and Vocational Technology, Professor Mahesh Edirisingha, Open University of Sri Lanka, Professor PMC Tilakaratna, University of Colombo, Professor HD Karunaratna, University of Kelaniya, Professor Nilanthi, the Vice Chancellor of the Sri Lanka Institute of Information Technology, Professor Lakshman Ratnayaka, and also the Principal of Ananda Vidyalaya, Mr. Lal Disanayaka. You may please be seated. So, ladies and gentlemen, as customary, to formally deliver the welcome address, I would like to invite Professor Ramani D. Wijesekara, the outgoing General President of the Sri Lanka Association for the Advancement of Science. So just last month, under her leadership, SLAAS celebrated 80 glorious events of promoting sciences. Over to you, ma'am.
Good evening. It is both an honor and a pleasure to extend a warm welcome to our chief guest, Dr. Harini Amarasuriya, Prime Minister of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka. We are awaiting her arrival. She's at the moment busy in the Parliament. Our guest of honor, Professor Gomika Udugamasuriya, President Senior Advisor on Science and Technology, past General Presidents and Council members of SLAAS, and distinguished invitees to the ceremonial induction of Professor Udeni P. Nawagamuwa as the General President of the Sri Lanka Association for the Advancement of Science for 2025. The Sri Lanka Association for the Advancement of Science, the nation's premier scientific body, was established in 1944 and officially incorporated under Act of Parliament number 11 of 1966. I am proud to say that we celebrated our 80th anniversary last year, marking 8 decades of dedication to scientific advancement. At SLAAS, our mission is clear: to promote, support, and foster scientific endeavor and technological innovation in an ethical, humane, and sustainable manner for the benefit of the people of Sri Lanka. This mission is achieved through the diverse activities of our 8 sections, statutory committees, other specialized committees, and 4 regional chapters. With a membership of approximately 5,000, SLAAS represents a vibrant community spanning recent graduates to the nation's leading scientists. Our members, who come from universities, research institutions, and industries, encompass all branches of science: pure, applied, and social sciences. What truly sets SLAAS apart is the spirit of service. All office bearers and members contribute their time and expertise in an entirely honorary capacity, driven by a shared commitment to advancing science and innovation for the greater good. Today, we embark on a new chapter for SLAAS under the capable leadership of Professor Udeni Nawagamuwa. With his guidance, I am confident that SLAAS will continue to grow and thrive, reaching even greater heights in the years ahead. Once again, it is my pleasure to warmly welcome you to this significant event on the SLAAS calendar. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam. So next on the agenda is the address by the guest of honor. And it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you our guest of honor today, Professor Gomika Udugamasuriya. Professor Gomika Udugamasuriya obtained his BSc degree in 1999 from the University of Colombo, Sri Lanka. He obtained his PhD in bioorganic chemistry and biochemistry in 2006 at Wayne State University of Michigan, USA. Having completed a postdoctoral fellowship at the University of Texas, Southwestern Medical Center, Dallas, USA, which focused mainly on cancer chemical biology, he then embarked on his own academic pursuits. So most notably, as a tenure-track assistant professor at the University of Texas Southwestern Medical Center, and then at the University of Houston and MD Anderson Cancer Center. Professor Udeni directs a multifaceted research program mainly focused on cancer drug lead discovery and various diagnostic tool developments, which is funded by various prestigious institutes. He has numerous publications and abstracts, which are actually too numerous to be mentioned here. Recognizing his impactful and innovative contributions to research and successors in patents and commercialization, he has been inducted as a senior member of the United States National Academy of Inventors in the year 2023. He has received numerous awards, including the Chancellor's 50-in-1 Scholar multiple times at UH, the Faculty Excellence in Research, NIH, the SPO Cancer Excellence Career Development Award, and so on. And I think, as most of you are aware, Professor Udeni is currently the Senior Advisor on Science and Technology to His Excellency, the President of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka. And it gives me great pleasure to now call upon Professor Gomika Udeni to deliver his address at the induction ceremony of the 84th General President of the Sri Lanka Association for the Advancement of Science.
Good afternoon to you all, and it is a great honor for me to stand up here and deliver the guest of honor talk in this very prestigious 8 decades long journey that SLAAS has come, and it's a great honor for me, and thank you so much for inviting me for delivering this talk. The current General President, Dr. Wijesekara, and the upcoming President, Dr. Nawagamuwa, and past presidents, most of all, my dear teachers, actually, and my colleagues. While Sri Lanka is getting ready for another era, and I'm very much happy to come here and talk to you all, especially about science and technology. So this is my area. So I have been heavily involved in developing science and technology policy for the new government. And now it has been turning into the government policy, and also the acts are being developed. So I think rather than giving a general talk, I thought to kind of use this time to introduce this science and technology policy very briefly. So we all know what is the science and technology, any policy. This is about actually enriching science and technology knowledge, identifying research opportunities, priorities, allocating resources, and then establishing regulatory framework. This is always linked to R&D, research and development. So in Sri Lanka, actually, we have the research, but the development part is lacking. So that's one of the biggest things we identified. I know how much effort you all do to do research, but it has not been really linked to the economy of the country. So this whole process needs to be completed if we talk about R&D, because it produces value-added products and services. That is where this process is being important for the economy. Especially, this government is really talking about production economy. So for that, the value-added products and services are the most important thing. So, if we look at the Sri Lankan situation, we have lots of universities, research institutes, and I always say, people say we are poor in research or something, and I don't believe that. And the best example is you all. And I know how much research you have been trying to do under very difficult conditions. So the problem is not with the researchers or the minds, the great minds exactly sitting here. It's about not having a proper planning, and especially this research is scattered. There's no prioritized research for the national view. And then secondly, this research that you all do has not been linked to the economy. There's no plan to do that. And then thirdly, we spend very small amount from the GDP. Now, if this is the percentage expenditures from GDP, the developed countries shown in green color spend about 3 to 5%, and then the countries have economies like ours spend at least 1%. And since our percentage cannot be seen, we have to display with some other way. So it's very, very minimum, only 0.12% of the GDP. So we need to address all these things. So the vision of this policy is, of course, we need to base it on the innovation and invention. And this R&D for three things. One is for economic prosperity, second, social well-being, and then for the environmental sustainability. The principles, of course, the invention and innovation being supported, and then there are these different stakeholders like the government, private sector, general public, international partners are there, but the interconnectivity has been missing. So this is one of the principles we are trying to do, the interconnect these different sectors, and there are so many other principles like we need to prioritize research for the country in a national plan. And then we have to have a central administration to administrate this, the national research effort, and also link the R&D directly to economy. And the other things are the apply equity, diversity and inclusion, transparent mechanisms, provide the independency for the researchers, and also have it free from political and other bureaucratic interferences. So we have categorized priority research areas into 6 areas. First is agriculture, fisheries, livestock, food safety area, and then health, education, sciences, and then the technology section, and then the environment, and then this area has not been functioned in Sri Lanka much, national security, policy development, and economic-based researches, and then art and human development, history, culture, those areas. So if you look, everything is included here. And then we always talk about the collaboration and integration. That is one of the biggest priorities, the principles in our policy. I'm just showing an example. When we use these natural products, how many industries can be connected to that? The health and pharmaceuticals, supplements, food industry, cosmetics, agriculture, and then the tourism industry. So this is how we need to look at the research and the commercialization. So if we'll, again, as I mentioned, we have to have the interconnection between these stakeholders, and we have to establish that. And then, like many other countries, the developed countries are doing, we really need to first prioritize the research. So we are going to develop a centralized management institute, which is a very broad institute. So that can actually prioritize national research and then provide funding for all the research-based institutes, universities, research institutes, and other places. And not to stop there. That is the biggest problem. So we really need to push whatever the research coming from these basic attempts and then push it through to the commercialization. So the developed countries have these high-tech incubators to do that, and we are going to establish that, and then the private sector can come and utilize this research and connect it to the national economy. So this is kind of the cycle we are planning to do, and the flow, again, the same thing. We have national investments, and then the R&D is done. We develop novel findings and prototypes, and then there's another very important point here, securing the intellectual property. In Sri Lanka, I think that is very weak and also very difficult to go through those processes, and I always say we as scientists are very weak in writing patents, so it has to be, you have to have a very strong support from the legal system to do that, otherwise we cannot really be competitive in the international global village. So, and then the products and services goes into the commercialization. So the resources, we have the government and then the private sector like investors, entrepreneurs, manufacturers, like that, and then the international partners, and we have huge natural resources. So we need to utilize them, and also finally, it's not final, this is the biggest thing, the creative human resource. We know how each of you are doing, and not only us, everyone in this country, we have a huge intellectual minds are there, and it has not been really utilized. The resources are not there. So, and then we have talking about how we can gather the knowledge from expats and also some other ways, and also how the government can actually find funds, because Sri Lankan economy is not in a good situation currently. The government really has to support the beginning of this R&D effort, and then the private sector can come in. So we have identified some mechanisms that even not troubling the government budget. Of course, the government budget will be increased with the R&D. And then we can do some other mechanisms, release some research-specific bonds and bring in investors and connect everything into the proper system. I'm not going to spend a lot of time and develop self-sustainable institutes and like that, but I want to explain a little bit about this centralization mechanism that we are proposing. What we are trying to do is establish a central management institute and set up different layers of committees, starting from high level to go down to the ground level, and then develop these research management divisions within that. That's very important, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit. This centralization is very important, but too centralization is also not good. So we need the information from the ground. So that's why we developed these research management divisions, and we're trying to develop it for each subject area, roughly for each ministry. Let's say the RMD1 is on agriculture area. So what it does is it actually interacts with the agriculture ministry, agriculture institutes, and then go up to even to the farmers, and identify the research needs, the priorities, and bring into the central table. The same thing is done for IT, engineering, like that. And then in a central environment, still the information coming from the ground will decide what are the priorities for the country. And that is the rough mechanism. And then this can be applied to the conventional system where the research is happening. Universities, research centers, they all get the prioritized research areas. So that's what you are going to do. And then it will be connected to the economy as well. So the ideology is about the higher level policy and regulation, centralized administration, but going down to the ground level for get the information. And this mechanism from the very bottom to the very up, you have a link. You know where to go if you have problems. And then we are proposing various kinds of research grants. Most of those are normal grant types, and even for the school level. So we are paying a lot of attention to the school level. That's where the real the idea is beginning. And then we have actually proposed some specific public funding grants as well. Of course, the small business innovation grants are common, but the other one, public research grant awards also, we are proposing for, most of the time the grant goes to the degree holders like us, but there are some innovators really don't have degrees in the village level, so we are trying to identify and encourage them. And then we are proposing a very transparent and well-oiled grant mechanism, two-stage scientific review, and I'm actually a reviewer in the NIH in US as well for more than a decade, using these different criteria like significance, innovation, and research proposal, investigator qualifications and facilities like that. And then the administrative reviews, and then provide the grants to complete the cycle. So finally, what do we going to do with this? I didn't talk about some other aspects like what we are going to do with the instruments, core facilities, and there are so many other topics that I'm not going to touch at this point. But first of all, we need to get out of this hidden somewhere in this graph, and that is the responsibility of the government. And actually, I want to announce something happening tomorrow with the presence of the President and the Prime Minister and many other quarters, and I know already some of you have been invited. So I have proposed to develop a special national movement to commercialize the research and development already happened or near completion. Because there are a lot of projects we have done, maybe close to the completion, but there are some gaps are there. So we are trying to develop a special President's Fund and also do a single window application process and divide it into 3 places. First, actually, for the research near completed area. So the government will provide gap-filling funding for those research, taking it to the commercialization. And then we invite the investors to come. So the completed research can be link to these investors to invest and take them forward. And the Epawala Phosphate project is one of such a very good example. We already started and it's moving. And then finally, there are investors who has their funding and they have research projects as well, but they may have different problems, legal or some other things, so the government will try to resolve. So this mechanism will be launched tomorrow. So I want to ask you all to be find this information, and we are actually launching a very good website. You get a lot of information, and if you have such projects near completion, please join with us, and we will try to provide whatever the needs for the next level, to take it to the next level. And then we try to go to the level that has countries with our similar range, and then think about going to the highest level in the long range. So this is what I meant with the short-term, mid-term, long-term plan. In the short-term plan, what we are trying to do is simply kind of take this, whatever research happened already, in the near completion or happen, and then bring it up to the commercialization level. And then the mid-level, help the innovation and invention in the long term, and still moving forward. So finally, what do we want to achieve here? First, the economic prosperity, the social well-being, and then the environmental sustainability. So this is about everything we want. So this is the policy for the new government in the research and development. And as I mentioned, it is not only in the sciences, it's a very broad spectrum, including art and culture. So I think I might have gone even more, I took more time probably. So again, and I'm very, very honored to be here, and I think it's the perfect time because we are trying to establish this new science and technology policy to take our research and development into a different area that has mostly didn't happen so far. Of course, there were commercializations, and I'm not saying nothing happened. Definitely there are a lot happened. And also, this short-term plan needs to utilize the funds that has been spent so far for research, and then just do the gap filling to take it to the commercialization level. So once again, it's a great honor for me to come here and deliver this talk, and I really appreciate the invitation. And it is really, really great to see you all after some time. And I really, really wish all the best for the incoming General President, and all the best to you all as well. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Udeni, for giving us a sneak preview of what is probably yet to come. And I think formulating a sound policy on R&D is a much, much awaited enterprise, and a sound workflow sounds really good, and we wish you all the very best to achieve that. So thank you very much. And now, ladies and gentlemen, next on the agenda is the introduction of the incoming General President of SLAAS. And for this purpose, we have with us today Professor Emeritus Ruchirakumaranatunga, and I think Emeritus Professor Ruchirakumaranatunga is indeed no stranger to SLAAS, and I believe needs no formal introduction as such. She has held a long and illustrious career as an academic at the University of Ruhuna, and of course is an eminent past General President of the Sri Lanka Association for the advancement of science. And it gives me great pleasure to now invite Professor Ruchira Kumaranatunga to introduce the incoming General President of SLAAS.
Thank you, Professor Teshini Pereira, for the kind introduction. The chief guest, although she will be joining us shortly, Prime Minister of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka, Dr. Hari Amarasuriya, who is also the Minister of Education, Higher Education and Vocational Education. Guest of honor, Professor Gomiko Udgamasuriya, Senior Advisor on Science and Technology to the President, outgoing General President of Sri Lanka Association for the Advancement of Science, Professor Ramani Wijesekara, Professor Udeni Nawagamuwa, General President-elect, who will be inducted as General President of SLAAS today. Past General Presidents, members of the Council, and General Membership of SLAAS, distinguished invitees and members of the family of Dr. Nawagamuwa, Professor Nawagamuwa. Today I am proudly standing in front of this august gathering of scientists and distinguished guests to perform a very important tradition of the Sri Lanka Association for the Advancement of Science. It is to introduce Professor Udeni Nawagamuwa, who will be inducted shortly as the 84th General President of SLAAS for 2025. I felt quite honored when Professor Nawagamuwa invited me to perform this important task. I first came to know Udeni as a young civil engineer who joined the Faculty of Engineering of University of Ruhuna during the year 2000. At the inception of the faculty. I had the opportunity to closely associate with him in 2005 after the tsunami episode in 2004, when University of Ruhuna undertook the Canadian CEDA-funded tsunami restoration program in southern, southeastern, and eastern coastal regions, which was coordinated by Professor Ranjit Senaratne, who was the Vice Chancellor of University of Ruhuna and a past General President of SLAAS. In 2013, he served as one of the 2 Joint Secretaries of SLAAS when I was the General President. I found Udeni to be an enthusiastic young academic and a civil engineer who carried out all the duties entrusted to him with utmost dedication, and actually he always had a smiling face. His positive attitude when performing his duties is also commendable. Udeni Nawagamuwa was born in 1972 in a small town in Malabe, about 9 miles from Colombo. His father was a government servant and mother was a housewife. He has 2 sisters and he is the second in the family. He is married to Manjula Samaravira, who is a school teacher by profession. And according to Udeni, she has been a pillar of strength to him, sacrificing her time to perform all family affairs, while Udeni was involved in all his academic and other responsibilities. He has 3 children, 1 daughter and 2 sons, who have already shown signs of following their father's footsteps. Udeni had his first 5 years of primary education at Malabe Rahula Vidyalaya, presently known as Rahula Balika Vidyalaya. After passing the grade 5 scholarship examination in 1983 with flying colors, he entered Ananda College in 1984. At Ananda College, Udeni excelled in mathematics and opted to continue his secondary education under the physical science stream. He completed his JC advanced level examination, enabling admission to the University of Moratuwa to proceed with his tertiary education leading to a BSc degree in engineering. Udeni achieved notable milestones during his school years. If I mention a few, he became Sri Lanka's first mathematics Olympiad winner in 1992, representing Ananda College. He also has played basketball for a short period prior to dedicating his time to serve as a traffic warden. He has also served as the assistant secretary of the school's mass media circle. At the University of Moratuwa, Udeni opted to specialize in civil engineering and graduated as the best student in his batch. He also served as the batch representative. In year 2000, Udeni initiated his academic career as a probationary lecturer attached to the newly established Faculty of Engineering at the University of Ruhuna. He won a full scholarship to pursue for a Master of Engineering degree at the Asian Institute of Technology, AIT, in Thailand. At AIT, he has been an active member of the Student Union and has served as a General Assembly member for 2 terms and chairman of the Film and Video Committee for another 2 terms. On completion of his master's degree in 2002, Udeni was awarded a Japanese government scholarship to read for a Doctor of Engineering degree at Yokohama National University. While in Japan, he has been an active member of the Sri Lanka Students Community and served as the president of the Sri Lanka Students Association in Japan from 2003 to 2004. He successfully completed his PhD and returned to Sri Lanka in September 2005 and resumed academic duties as a senior lecturer at the University of Ruhuna. After serving for 2 years as a senior lecturer at University of Ruhuna, in 2007, he decided to join University of Moratuwa, his alma mater, due to personal reasons, which I believe is a great loss to the Faculty of Engineering of University of Ruhuna. He was promoted to the post of professor in 2019. While performing his academic duties, Udeni contributed significantly to professional societies such as Institution of Engineers, Sri Lanka, IESL, and Sri Lanka Association for the Advancement of Science, SLAAS. At the IESL, he served as a council member for 6 years, editor for 4 years, and also has been an active member of the Sri Lankan Geotechnical Society, where he held the position of honorary secretary for 2 years. Udeni's contribution to SLAAS, since he joined as a member in 2007, has been remarkable. He held numerous positions, including important key positions such as committee member, vice president, and president of Section C for Engineering and Architecture in 2008, 2009, and 2010, respectively, and vice chairman and the chairman of the Committee for Popularization of Science in 2011 and 2012, respectively. Considering his dedication to SLAAS activities, I invited him to serve as one of the joint secretaries in 2013, the year I served as the general president of SLAAS. And he actively handled all the responsibilities entrusted to him with confidence and utmost dedication for 2 consecutive years. I will not hesitate to mention that he rendered a commendable service which helped me to perform all my tasks as the general president confidently and comfortably. I only had to assign the responsibilities to him, after which no supervision was needed. Later, he handled several highly responsible positions at SLAAS, such as chairman of the Awards Committee, Media Committee, General Research Committee, and Science Education Committee, as vice chair of the Ethics Committee, and also as the secretary of the Board of Trustees. Considering his dedication to SLAAS activities for nearly 17 years, he was elected as the General President-elect for 2024 by the Council of SLAAS in 2023. Beyond his professional achievements, Udeni has been deeply involved in community services in his hometown, Malabe. He has been serving as the president of his Dhamma Dhamma School Student Society in 1987 and 1988. He has passed his all Dhamma examinations and has won regional competitions representing his Dhamma school, after which he continued to serve as a voluntary Dhamma school teacher for 10 years, prior to leaving for AIT Thailand for his master's degree in 2000. In recognition of his efforts, the government of Sri Lanka has awarded him a valuable certificate for 10 years of continuous voluntary teaching. He is still continuing his services to the temple in his hometown by serving in various committees. When considering all the achievements and the academic and research and unwavering dedicated services to science education and the community as a whole, I cannot think of a better person than Professor Udeni Nawagamuwa to serve as the General President of the Sri Lanka Association for the Advancement of Science for 2025. Before winding up, I would like to make a very important comment and also request to Professor Nawagamuwa. SLAAS has a membership of over 5,000 scientists, and SLAAS membership has been rendering a voluntary service to Sri Lankan community for more than 8 decades in various fields according to their expertise. I believe that the expertise of SLAAS membership has not been utilized to the maximum by the Sri Lankan government's reign so far, which I believe is a waste of an important human resource. It may be because all expert Sri Lankan scientists are not active members of leading political parties. I therefore urge Professor Nawagamuwa, as General President of SLAAS for 2025, to prepare a suitable plan with the help of the members of the Council, past General Presidents, and the general membership of SLAAS, enabling the present government of Sri Lanka to effectively and efficiently utilize the expertise available among SLAAS membership, irrespective of their political affiliations. It would help the government's future sustainable development plans for science education, research and development. I believe that such a move would help to save a considerable amount of foreign exchange spent on so-called foreign or international experts performing local tasks which can be easily handled by internationally recognized Sri Lankan scientists. I hope, I wish that the Honorable Prime Minister was here. I think Professor Gomika can take this message to her. I hope that you will tell the Prime Minister that there is an important message from SLAAS and to take necessary action to obtain the services of SLAAS membership for relevant development programs of the country. I shall wind up wishing Professor Udeni Nawagamuwa a very successful year ahead as the General President of Sri Lanka Association for the Advancement of Science. I hope that he will have all the strength and courage with the blessings of the Noble Triple Gem to perform his duties to SLAAS and to serve our motherland Sri Lanka in order to help achieving the government's sustainable development goals. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam. Ladies and gentlemen, we now come to the highlight of today. You're about to witness the induction of the 84th General President of the Sri Lanka Association for the Advancement of Science. And for this purpose, it is my pleasure to invite the outgoing General President, Professor Ramani Wijesekara, and the incoming General President of SLAAS, Professor Udeni P. Nawagamuwa, on stage.
Professor, Professor Udeni P. Nawagamuwa, the General Committee of the Association, at the last annual meeting, elected you to the prestigious post of General President, as you are worthy of holding this post. The association's constitution spells out clearly your functions and responsibilities. Your ruling shall be final on all matters and points of order that may arise. There are also unwritten rules that you are required to follow. You are the General President for 1 year, but will be a past General President for life. You have to uphold the dignity and decorum of the post at all times. As a scientist and a member of the civil society, you may have commitments in other organizations, but in all such instances, it is your duty to bear in mind the interests and welfare of the association. You are a steward of the country's premier body of scientists, and as such, your performance and achievements will be watched not only by the general membership of the association, but also by the public at large. They will hold you accountable for both the achievements and the failures. What you achieve will go into the books of history of the association. Professor Udeni P. Nawagamuwa, I'm confident that you will perform your duties to the best of your ability and in the interest of the association.
I, Professor Udeni P. Nawagamuwa, pledge that I will uphold the dignity of the office and fulfill my duties as the General President of the Sri Lanka Association for the Advancement of Science for the year 2025, to the best of my ability and in the interest of the association. Thank you.
So along with the medal comes many responsibilities. And of course, now you see the outgoing General President also being honored. So I think let me offer my heartiest congratulations to Professor Udeni P. Nawagamuwa and wish you all the very best on this new adventure, if I may call it. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's indeed a pleasure to invite the newly inducted, young and dynamic General President, Professor Udeni P. Nawagamuwa, to deliver his address, where he will lay out his vision for SLAAS for the year 2025.
Good evening. Guest of honor, Professor Gomika Udugamasuriya, President Senior Advisor on Science and Technology, outgoing General President of the Sri Lanka Association for the Advancement of Science, SLAAS, Professor Ramani D. Vijayasekara, past General Presidents, members of the SLAAS Council, and general membership, fellow scientists, distinguished invitees, and my family members. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to Professor Ruchira Kumaratunga for the kind introduction on the occasion of my induction as the 84th General President of SLAAS. It's an honor to introduce my theme for the year, Empowering the Underprivileged through Popularization of Science and Technology. I must appreciate the speech done by our guest of honor on the proposed science and technology policy. So I think what I am going to propose now will be really applicable for your work as well. This is my journey at SLAAS. My journey with SLAAS began in 2007 as a member of Section C, that is Engineering, Architecture, and Surveying. Over the years, I held various roles: committee member of the Section C in 2008, Vice President of the Section C in 2009, and the President of Section C in 2010. And then I was the Vice Chairman of the Committee for the Popularization of Science in 2011, and the Chairman of CPS in 2012, and the General Secretary, as mentioned by Professor Ruchira Kumaratunga, that I hold, that is for 2 years, 2013 and 14, and the Chairman of the Awards Committee in 2015, and Secretary of the Media Resources Committee in 2016, and Chairman of the Awards Committee and the Secretary of the Board of Trustees in 2019, and Chairman of the Science Education Committee in 2021, Chairman of the General Research Committee in 2022, and the General Secretary for a short period in 2023, and also the Vice Chairman of the Ethics Committee in 2023, and then the General President-elect in 2024. The journey has been long and rewarding, allowing me to make meaningful contributions, such as organizing Science Day programs across the country. During these visits, I witnessed firsthand the challenges faced by many schools, including a lack of basic sanitary facilities, let alone science labs. We don't have to talk about the science labs. This is me. A little about myself. I come from a humble background in Malawi. Growing up amidst paddy fields and villages. Now everybody talks about Malawi as a big city, but the place I was born was a small village. Passing the grade 5 scholarship examination was a turning point in my life. My achievements include being the first winner of the National Mathematical Olympiad in 1992. Completing my civil engineering degree at the University of Moratuwa, and earning my master's at AIT in Thailand, and obtaining my PhD at Yokohama National University in Japan. I often reflect on what might have happened if I hadn't passed that crucial grade 5 scholarship examination? Would I have been another underprivileged student with unrealized potential? I am sharing this personal experience that I had. Let me share another success story. In 2013, I met Pubudu Kapuge, a talented student from Mihintale Vidyalaya. Despite his school lacking advanced level science classes, he hasn't done advanced level science. He invented a ridge cutting machine and went on to win the Intel World Prize after winning Sri Lanka's Junior Inventor Award. The person who has not done A-level science. How many more Pubudus are out there waiting for opportunities to realize their potential? Let's see why science and technology for the underprivileged in Sri Lanka. What are the benefits? It empowers problem solving, it drives economic growth, it promotes equity for comfortable life for everyone. Sri Lanka has several science and technology institutions. According to this 2022 data, that is from the Science and Technology Status Report, there are 20 institutions promoting science and technology, mostly in the agricultural sector. Let's see these development disparities in Sri Lanka. As per Nishan Sakalasurya in his paper on regional development disparities, there are no significant initiatives to expand non-agricultural sector activities in rural areas. The Western province contributes over 40% of the GDP, while other provinces could improve. This is an interesting finding. You can see here schools with classes up to grade 5. We have 3,500 schools only up to grade 5. And there are some other schools up to O level, that is 3,700. Schools with A-level science stream, we have 868. It is less than 10% of the schools we have in the country. If you just see the next figure, it is also a very interesting figure. So there is a scale from 0 to 60. You can see Colombo. Colombo has secondary IT teachers. Colombo has science labs. But let's talk about Kilinochchi. Are you ashamed? Kilinochchi doesn't have enough IT teachers and also labs. But I am not talking about Polonnaruwa and Hambantota. Those are two exceptional cases we everybody know. But think about Kilnochi. What we have done as scientists in the country. This is another interesting finding. You can see the schools by A-level stream having bio streams, physical science, arts. Now we have technology, 520. And this is the interesting part here. There are 3,155 schools. They have less than 10 teachers in the school. This is something that we have never thought of, or we have never discussed. There are some schools, 4,331 schools, having only 10 to 25 teachers. Where are we? We are in Colombo, or we are in Kandy, we are at a very safe place. But the country is not so. The other one, you can see less than 35% of students take science subjects in A-level. Altogether, all science, I mean the bio, physical, and technology. Less than 35%. This is another interesting finding. There are dropouts. This is at the O level. There are a lot of dropouts, more boys than girls. It is not a gender issue, but there is an issue. And throughout the years that you can see the dropouts by gender, more boys than girls. What are they actually doing now? Are they riding three-wheelers? What is the contribution that we are getting from them? What is the purpose of this education that we have invested in this country? This is another interesting story. You can see in 2006, a student goes to school and qualified for the state university or whatever the university in 2020-21. Now, we have 327,601 students go to grade 1. And before O-level, just before O-level, it is not O-level, it is before O-level, 10% dropouts. It is 10% dropouts before O-level. This is not like 70s or 60s or 70s story. This is 2006. Right. And then, at the O-level, again, 26% disqualified. They can't continue. And then, they do A-levels. And as we know, even though we have 3 SPASs, there are 22% students, they have not obtained 3 SPASs. And only 43,000, nearly 44,000, go to state universities. Just see the starting point. We were there at 327,000. Professor Gomika, this is for your observation. So I have already mentioned about the dropouts, the before O-level, and at the O-level, and at the A-level. This is another interesting one. The proportion of labor force in science and technology. We can see in Sri Lanka, the professionals having this, this is the international scale of these professionals. So we have 6.8 professionals working, and 6.4 are technicians or associate professions. But look at these developed countries, United States, Germany, UK, Russia, European Union. When we talk about the 6% professionals in science and technology in Sri Lanka, compared to the 3-4 times more in developed countries. And technicians are also same. We have very few in number, but the developed countries are having 2 to 3 times more than what we have. Okay, what SLAAS can do? So how we promote science and technology among young minds? We do have the committee that is called the Committee for the Popularization of Science, or we simply call CPS. So with this committee, we do a lot of activities. Science Day programs, teacher training programs. There are a lot of activities to promote science among young minds. And we have All Island School Inventors competition and exhibition. We partner with the Sri Lanka Inventors Commission. And we introduced this Little Agriculturist and Little Mycologist program. Thank you, Professor Dharmadasa, for his initiation. And we introduced a science kit, Little Scientist. That is an effort to instill in young minds an unparalleled curiosity about science. And that is what SLAAS does. That nationally, NSF does a lot of work. We have the Director General. Thank you, Madam, that we are doing a lot of work with NSF. And Ministry of Science and Technology does a lot of activities. So these are some photographs that you can see that what we do for popularization of science by SLAAS, especially the CPS, the Committee for the Popularization of Science. We have Science Day programs, discussions, exhibitions. You can see the cartoon contest among the students to promote science. And a lot of articles are done on Vidusara and other newspapers. Teacher training programs. There are a lot of activities we do to promote science. And the exhibitions and the invention exhibitions and the competitions. We do a lot of work like this to promote science. And as I mentioned, the Little Agriculturist program. There are some photographs that was introduced as Punchi Krushi Vidyajna, the concept. The concept was to introduce hands-on experience. So that's what we have done, that has been considered as a very important agenda item in the Ministry of Education now. And the bag, the kit, the Little Scientist kit. Professor Teshini Pereira is here. When she was the chairperson of the section E2, we introduced this Little Scientist kit or the bag. So what steps have developed countries taken? They also had a tough time. So what have they done?
Ladies and gentlemen, I think we'll pause for just a moment. The chief guest, the Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Harini Amarasuriya, has just arrived and will be with us shortly. You can probably see on the screen the Prime Minister being welcomed by the General President. Ladies and gentlemen, let us extend a warm welcome to Dr. Harini Amarasuriya, the Prime Minister of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka. We are honored to have you with us today. I think it is wise now to get back to the General President's address. Over to you, Professor Nawagamuwa.
Chief guest, Honorable Dr. Harini Amarasuriya, Prime Minister of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka, and Minister of Education, Higher Education, and Vocational Education. Thank you very much, Madam, for your presence here today. So I will continue my speech. There is a request that I must go backwards few slides to say a few things that I have already told. Madam, this is a finding that we should know. This is a finding that you can get it from the Public Investment Program 24-26 from the Department of National Planning. In 2006, there were 327,601 students entered into the grade 1. And they have completed their 13 years education in 2021. And if you see these dropouts, before O-level, there were 10% dropouts. And at the O-level, another 26 dropouts. And at the A-level, this is 22 dropouts actually. They did not pass A-level. But as we know, even if you obtain 3 S passes, there are some other stories. So what are they actually doing, madam? That was the case that we were actually talking about. So this is about the labor force in science and technology sector in other countries. The developed countries have very high percentage of professionals and technicians or technical or related associate professionals in their labor force. But if you see Sri Lanka, that is like 1/4 of those developed countries. And through SLAAS, we do a lot of promotions for science and technology. That we have the Committee for Popularization of Science, and then All Island Inventors exhibition, and we had, through the Education Department, we had Little Agriculturist program and also Little Mycologist program. And also we have developed a science kit. So those are some photographs that we have just summarized what are the activities we have done during last few years. We had a lot of science day programs, discussions, teacher training programs, and also the cartoon competition among the school kids, and some articles on newspapers like Vidusara. And the exhibitions, that is the new inventions, that we had a series of competitions and exhibitions throughout these last few years. And the Little Agriculturist program, we call Punchi Krushi Vidyaknya. That's a project done by Education Ministry with us now, and the Little Scientist Kit that we have developed for kids. And what are the steps those have been taken by the developed countries? The digital school program in the UK, and internet access in remote Australian schools in Australia, and project-based learning and STEM education initiatives in US. Everybody talks about this Finnish model, the Finnish education model and digital learning tools, and tech startups in South Korea. If you just see what are the key takeaways that we can take from these overseas examples, the technology access, the access to technology in those countries, and the training teachers in the use of technology, and also collaboration. The collaboration, the partnerships with governments, between government and NGOs, tech companies, and local communities. The strategies for popularization that we are proposing for this year, making science and technology accessible in Sri Lanka. The leverage local context, that we can use examples like agriculture innovations, maybe gemology in Ratnapur area, and also affordable education, mobile labs, free workshops for underprivileged student communities, community engagement, train teachers and local leaders to deliver STEM education, collaborate with schools, provide science kits, and promote STEM in those schools. And let's talk about the building support system in Sri Lanka. We have the tech access, so we can establish digital hubs in rural areas with internet and basic tech tools. And this is gaming. Students are very interested in games. This is gamification, develop single and Tamil educational apps and games. Women and youth programs that provide scholarships and mentorship for rural youth, particularly girls. And incentivize participation, partner with local business to offer internships and project funding. What are the benefits of popularizing science and technology? We can say enhanced education, economic growth, improved health, environmental sustainability, and social empowerment. So those are the key benefits that we can achieve through popularization or popularizing science and technology, S&T. Our vision. Our vision, or our primary goal, is to empower school children and communities in underserved areas, equipping them with scientific knowledge, fostering science and technology popularization, and driving technological advancements. We believe science and technology can play a transformative role in alleviating poverty and bringing the gap between rich and poor. The vision. Our vision is to empower underprivileged communities by popularizing S&T, science and technology, fostering innovation, and driving advancements that bridge societal gaps and create opportunities for sustainable growth. The mission. We started it today, the launch event. It is today. We have more than 120 participants here. And we are planning to have regional exhibitions. We are planning to have 2-day exhibitions in areas like Mathura, Anuradhapura, Jaffna, and Colombo. Actually, I selected those 4 places because we don't have this, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Vocational Technology here at this moment. But he suggested that he could offer their facilities, their university colleges at these locations. So we can have NITA, German Tech, SLIT, CINEC, all those institutions, and to showcase career and academic opportunities for these young kids. And student invention exhibitions, regional showcases in university colleges. That was the discussion that I had with the UOVT, and OUSL Vice Chancellor is here. So we can have these exhibitions with the finalist will come to University of Moratuwa in December. Our Vice Chancellor sir is here for the final contest in December 2025. So this will be organized with Sri Lanka Inventors Commission, and winners will receive certificates and gifts. And we have Science Day programs that we have been continuing for last so many years, that we have quiz competitions, star observations, that there are a lot of other activities we do. And also teacher training programs for STEM education, and also we have this new subject called Science for Technology. The contribution of SLAAS for implementation. That's what we can offer. We can do this overall coordination, the council, we have the general president, general secretaries, and treasurer, that we will oversee the general management and strategic direction of the program. And we have the Committee for the Popularization of Science, CPS. They will be responsible for coordinating Science Day programs and related activities. And financial coordination can be done through this council. The contribution of SLAAS for this implementation work. We have 8 sections. Different professionals are working with us. Section A, medical, dental, and veterinary sciences. Section B, agriculture and forestry. Section C, engineering, architecture, and surveying, where I am from. Section D, life and earth sciences. Section E1, physical sciences. Section E2, chemical sciences. E3, computer science, and Section F, social sciences. So there are a lot of committees like Committee for Popularization of Science, Environment Committee, General Research Committee, and we have Interdisciplinary Committee, Science and Technology Advisory Committee, and Science Education Committee. There are several committees that we work to achieve these goals. So how can you contribute to this program, ladies and gentlemen, Honorable Madam Prime Minister? So we call open proposals. We welcome your ideas and proposals to contribute to the success of this program. And we can have collaboration with key institutions. We invite the National Academy of Sciences, National Science Foundation, Sri Lanka Invention Commissions. We have the Institution of Engineers Sri Lanka, ISL, and all these institutions to work with us, partner with us for long-term plans. And we are planning an open day in February at SLAAS headquarters. So join us for an open day to meet our teams, sections, and committees and explore opportunities for collaboration with both government and private sector stakeholders. Become a partner. Partner with us as resource persons to share expertise, support the program as financial donors to help make this initiative a success. Let's empower the underprivileged. Call to action, the time has come for all of us to unite in empowering the underprivileged through the popularization of science and technology. We need everyone's support. SLAAS is a voluntary organization. We can make a difference if we get together. The collective responsibility, as Robert Swan said, the greatest threat to our planet is the belief that someone else will save it. So that is the message that we have to consider for the action. I have summarized few activities we have done in the last 5 years. I apologize for not considering all the activities those were done by our past presidents during the last 10-15 years, but I have summarized only the activities, key activities we have done in the last 5 years. So we discussed the potential impact of the ban, the inorganic fertilizer ban on the agriculture. We discussed it and we won it. And then the need assessment on reforming science education in Sri Lanka. We have done workshops, we have shared our thoughts that was done in 2022. And the promoting accurate science communication and science diplomacy as a tool for national unity, encouraging interdisciplinary and transdisciplinary studies in our work, and raising awareness on microplastics. So with this, I am here today. So I would like to conclude by expressing my heartfelt gratitude to all those who have played a pivotal role in shaping my journey to this position. To my parents, father is not here with us I know He is helping me from the heaven. Thank you for instilling in me the value of education and for teaching me resilience in the face of challenges. Your unwavering belief in my potential has been my guiding light. To my family, my wife Manjula, my children Yenuli, Senut and Dinut, you have been my constant source of strength and inspiration. I deeply appreciate your sacrifices and patience, especially when my commitments took me away from important family moments. Without your support, I could not have come this far. To my teachers from Malabe Rahula Vidyalaya, now known as Rahula Balika Vidyalaya, Ananda College, the University of Moratuwa, AIT in Thailand, Yokohama National University, Japan, each of you has contributed to my academic and personal growth. Your guidance and mentorship laid the foundation for my achievements. To the past general presidents of SLAAS, your encouragement and advice inspired me to take on this role as the general president. I am grateful for the trust and confidence you placed in me. To my colleagues at SLAAS, a special thank you to the General Secretaries, Section C members, and the Committee for Popularization of Science CPS. Your teamwork, dedication, and passion have been instrumental in promoting science and technology across Sri Lanka. Professor Ruwan Weerasekara, I am especially grateful to you for introducing me to SLAAS and guiding me in my early years. I also fondly remember Mr. Upali Kasturi, the Section C Secretary during my presidency, for his unwavering support and wisdom. To the CPS members, your tireless efforts in organizing events and spreading scientific knowledge throughout the country have been an inspiration. Working alongside you has shown me the true power of volunteering for the betterment of our nation. Finally, I want to thank all my mentors, peers, and broader SLAAS family for creating an environment that fosters innovation and collaboration. Together, we have made remarkable strides, and I look forward to continuing this journey with your unwavering support. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much indeed, Professor Nawagamuwa, for that comprehensive summary of what to expect for next year. And now, ladies and gentlemen, on the agenda is the address by the chief guest, Dr. Harini Amarasuriya. As requested by the Prime Minister's office, there is to be no formal introduction. But I simply cannot pass this opportunity to tell her that we're all happy to note her achievements as a Prime Minister of the smallest cabinet in the history of a state. So as you're well aware, Dr. Harini Amarasuriya is the 16th Prime Minister of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka and holds several ministerial posts as the Minister of Education, Higher Education, and Vocational Education. On behalf of SLAAS, I applaud you for your efforts for increased allocations for education. It is a pleasure and a privilege to now call upon Dr. Harini Amarasuriya, the 16th Prime Minister of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka, to deliver her address at the ceremonial induction of the 84th General President of SLAAS.
Thank you very much. Good evening, distinguished guests, friends, colleagues, and distinguished members of SLAAS. It's a great pleasure and a privilege for me to be here with you today, and I'm very pleased to be able to address you on this occasion, marking the ceremonial induction of the General President of the Sri Lankan Association for the Advancements of Science. And may I offer you my congratulations and wish you all the best for this very important post that you have taken on. SLAAS has long stood as a beacon of scientific inquiry and innovation, playing a pivotal role in shaping Sri Lanka's progress and development. As Sri Lanka's foremost scientific body, SLAAS represents a diverse and dynamic community with over 10,000 members spanning various disciplines, from medicine and engineering to agriculture, social sciences, and computer science. SLAAS is a true testament to the richness and breadth of Sri Lanka's scientific landscape. As we gather today, it is a moment to reflect not only on the many remarkable achievements of this institution, but also on the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead for us as a scientific community and as a nation. Over the years, SLAAS has been instrumental in shaping the scientific landscape of Sri Lanka. From its early days, the association has brought together scientists, researchers, and innovators from nearly all disciplines of science. It has provided a platform for scientific dialogue, encouraged research that addresses the pressing needs of society, and nurtured the development of new technologies. One of the most significant achievements of SLAAS was the establishment of the National Academy of Sciences of Sri Lanka in 1998, a testament to the lasting impact of this association on the nation's intellectual and scientific infrastructure. Through its annual sessions, seminars, competitions, and workshops, as we just saw just now, SLAAS has consistently fostered the growth of science and technology, equipping future generations of scientists with the tools and knowledge to address both local and global challenges. As we celebrate these accomplishments, we must also recognize our challenges and focus on the areas for development. A vibrant intellectual community, strong research and development infrastructure and opportunities, and mentoring for younger researchers are essential for a country's development. However, if we reflect on our own situation, we must acknowledge that we cannot be happy with our current status quo. Our research culture doesn't really reward innovation and creativity. Our research has become too instrumental, often focused on promotion schemes rather than the love of knowledge or curiosity about the world around us. In fact, when I was in the university system, we used a term, Marxists, and not in the original sense of the term Marxists. And I can see many of you recognize how and why that term was used. Of course, we have brilliant individuals amongst us who, despite challenges, continue to inspire us all. But as a community, we are not strong enough. Funding and infrastructure support for research is weak, and we are at risk of being exploited and used by external agencies simply because we are not in a position to bargain better. The scientific community is also, again with some excellent exceptions, distanced from society at large. We have only a handful of public intellectuals influencing public discourse or scientists who are known and valued by society at large. If you ask the general public or if you ask our younger generation to name a well-known scientist, a Sri Lankan scientist, I'm sure they'll be hard-pressed to answer. But if you ask them who won the last I don't know, whatever these competitions are on television for singing, they will tell you at once. But I'm sure they won't be able to name a single scientist, or very few, let me rephrase, very few might be able to name a well-known scientist in Sri Lanka. The theme, therefore, that's been chosen for this year, empowering the underprivileged through the popularization of science and technology, could not be more timely. In a rapidly evolving world, science and technology are no longer luxuries. They are necessities. However, access to these tools and the opportunities they create remain uneven. In Sri Lanka, as in many countries, there are regions and communities that remain underserved and underrepresented in the scientific arena. SLAAS must ensure that scientific knowledge and resources are not confined to centers of privilege, but are equally accessible to those in the periphery. Even within our university system, there are some universities that are more privileged than others. Some universities that are better funded and resourced than others. It's not only the fault of the universities. I think we need to have thought about the way in which we have established universities in every part of the country with our limited resources. But nevertheless, I am extremely worried as the Minister of Education that the problem that we have created in our school system of popular schools and unpopular schools is being replicated now in our higher education system, and we have popular universities and unpopular universities. This is a real problem, I think, that we really need to identify and address. How often have many of us in this room felt overlooked or patronized or even exploited internationally at global forums simply because we are researchers from the global south? How often have we struggled to easily access good journals, to be truly represented in the international fora, and not to be just the token brown representative in a room full of privileged Western researchers? Thus, we must recognize the importance of inclusivity, collegiality, and mentorship within the research community. It is essential that we focus on outreach programs that bring science to communities, empowering them with knowledge and tools to overcome the unique challenges they face. Therefore, it was music to my ears to hear the various programs that you were proposing. It is commendable that SLAAS is taking deliberate steps to bridge this gap through initiatives such as regional exhibitions, student invention showcases, and teacher training workshops, extremely important and a vital part of whatever we do. At the same time, as a social scientist listening to all of this, I must urge you that STEM is not a magic bullet to fix everything or all the problems that we face. We need science and technology, but we also need humanists. We need artists. We need people who can understand relationships and context and history. These are the things that also give science and technology meaning. It is no use if we can build a wonderfully innovative bridge if we don't understand that human beings have to actually use these bridges. It is no point if we come up with the most fabulous medical discovery unless we understand that discovery has to be operationalized or used within a human being, and that a human being is far more complex than the different organs through which that human being is constituted. So my plea to you is, while, yes, we need to focus on science and technology, and we need to do that also in a context where we are lagging behind in science and technology, please do not treat the social sciences as the sort of poor relative, the qualitative part of the important work that science and technology does. We also have our own methodologies, our theories, our theoretical perspectives and orientations, which add value to a better understanding of the world. So whatever you do in your science and technology, I also urge you not to develop a kind of a hierarchy of the sciences, but to ensure this a multidisciplinary and transdisciplinary approach that is essential if we are really to understand the complex nature of the world that we inhabit. For instance, language can be a significant barrier to access, and tools in and of itself will not be able to bridge that gap unless we really understand how language and discourse works to exclude people and to make certain communities and groups feel more privileged than others. Sri Lanka's linguistic diversity offers, therefore, both a challenge and an opportunity. We must work towards breaking down barriers created by language and ensure that scientific research, literature, and discussions are available and valued in all three languages, Sinhala, Tamil, and English. By doing so, we ensure that no one is excluded from the scientific conversations that shape our future. In particular, school children must be included in the scientific community from an early age. SLAAS has a long history of fostering scientific interest among young people, particularly through competitions like the All-Ireland School Inventors Competition, where students are encouraged to think creatively and develop innovative solutions. By expanding these efforts, including science camps, hands-on workshops, and internships as you have proposed, SLAAS can inspire future generations of Sri Lankan scientists. Introducing more interdisciplinary scientific learning will ensure that science becomes an essential part of every child's education. Science education and research must, while ensuring theoretical and methodological rigor, also make sure that it's impactful. This is vital for our country. We should be asking questions about and striving to find answers and solutions to the myriad problems that we face as a society. Whether it is trying to find new narratives to explain our socio-political, cultural complexities, our histories, or whether it is finding ways to link our work to building industries, creating jobs, pushing innovation, we must ensure that as a community we are relevant. The government plays a crucial role in supporting and advancing scientific education and research in Sri Lanka. I should say should play a crucial role. We cannot be satisfied with the role we are currently playing. Our government has articulated a comprehensive approach to advancing science and technology in Sri Lanka. Our policy framework, titled Quantum Leap, emphasizes the government's pivotal role in leading science and technology initiatives. This structure aims to ensure that Sri Lanka remains or becomes a hub of scientific discovery and technological progress. Additionally, our government has unveiled a science and technology policy framework, underscoring our dedication to prioritizing science and research as essential drivers of economic recovery and national development. We want our policies and our decisions to be evidence-based and driven by data. And for that, you as a scientific community have a huge role to play. It is essential that we look forward with a shared vision for the future. The world around us is rapidly changing, and science is evolving at an unprecedented pace. Looking ahead, SLAAS has an extremely important role to play in fostering an environment where scientific inquiry thrives and where the benefits of that inquiry are shared by all. To continue advancing, we must focus on interdisciplinary collaboration, engaging not only scientists, but also policymakers, educators, and the public. This collaboration will be key in addressing the global challenges of our time, from climate change and public health epidemics to technological innovation and sustainable development. I call upon all of us to work together to advance science that is not only groundbreaking, but also inclusive, environmentally and socially responsible, accessible, and meaningful to every Sri Lankan. Thank you very much, and I wish you all the very best.
Thank you very much, Dr. Amarasuriya, for that thought-provoking remarks. And I must tell you that SLAAS is quite the package. We have a section, Section F, dedicated to social sciences. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite Professor Udeni Nawagamuwa to present tokens of our appreciation to our chief guest as well as the guest of honor. So SLAAS celebrated 80 glorious years just last year, but today we'll be presenting you with a coffee table book which was done to commemorate 75 years. Thank you very much. And now we are moving on to almost the end of the program, but not before the vote of thanks. And now I had the pleasure of inviting Professor Parakrama Valigamage, the General President-elect of the Sri Lanka Association for the Advancement of Science, to propose the vote of thanks.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, all things should come to end. Now, this important event has now come to an end. And it is customary to propose a vote of thanks. And this event is an event of transition. What happened was, Professor Ramani Wijesekar was our General President, and she became the immediate past General President. And Professor Udeni Nawagamuwa, who was the General President-elect last year, became the General President, and I am going to become the President-elect, so this is going to be my first official engagement in the SLAAS activities this year. And customary a vote of thanks is reading a list of names, but I will try to thank everyone who have supported to make this event a success. First, I have to thank Dr. Harini Amarasuriya, who is a social scientist by profession and was also a former academic colleague of us. Despite all her other work, agreed to come here, even though she was late. She did a very impressive presence here. And thank you, madam, for being with us here and then bringing a large, very relevant ideas. One thing actually I would also tell is SLAAS also has social scientists, And then actually I am coming from that section. So we will, I believe that maybe sometimes there is an idea that SLAAS has little to do with social sciences, but that is not the case, because SLAAS identified social sciences as a section in 1950s and continued. So we will enhance the interaction from the social sciences and other formal STEM scientists. And then I thank Professor Gomika Udugamsuriya, who himself is a scientist, and we made him guest of honor. Guest of honor means we have recognized his service as he came from a background that truly practiced science and wanted to honor his country. And then it's a pleasure for us, it's an honor for us to be here. And I understand that Professor Udugamsuriya also took it as an honor, because this gathering is a gathering of his teachers, colleagues, and other scientists. Thank you, Professor Udugamsuriya, for being here and telling us your story and your pledge that science will go ahead with your advice in the coming years. And then I have to thank all of you who are present here. This is actually a selective gathering. It was very difficult for SLAAS to select you because of the constraints that we have in organizing. So we have invited you, but I know that there can be so many other people who wanted to come here. But with the constraints, we invited you, and I am very pleased to see that this hall is full of important people, and they were invited, and they accepted our invitation and participated. Thank you very much for coming. And then I have to thank funders. Funders are important in conducting science, and I will read their names, and I have to actually be brief, and I have to read the names, so please excuse me. Okay, number one is International Consortium of Construction Private Limited, Marga Engineering Private Limited, University of Moratuwa, Queensland Chapter, Star Granite, and Dr. Janaka J. Kumara and Shamila Niroshani, they are from Japan, and Sway Global Holdings, Actualytics, actually they are Actuarial Services and Analytical Services, their name, and Dr. Asita Senanayaka from USA, Limra Holdings. So those are the key sponsors of this thing, and I have to read the list because they have been so generous, and they also have put no constraint on us. So they supported us and did not put any strings on their funds. So thank you very much, all the sponsors. And then at SLAAS, I have to thank all SLAAS members, whether they are present here or they are not here, because SLAAS is a voluntary organization, and SLAAS is ours, and SLAAS is their one. So again, I thank all of the SLAAS members for their unconditional support done to the organization, and they must be council members, they must be not in the council, they must be office holders, they must be not an office holders, they can be active members, they can be inactive members, because they all played a unique role in bringing Professor Udeni Nawagamuwa to this position today. But especially, I have to thank Professor Ramani Wijesekara for his brilliant welcome speech. It was warm but short. And she was humbly giving her responsibilities, handing over to Professor Nawagamuwa to be continued in this year. And Professor Kumaratunga is the best person, one of our past presidents. It was a very emotional speech, actually. She worked with Udeni, Professor Nawagamuwa for several years at SLAAS and outside SLAAS. So she was the best person to introduce Professor Nawagamuwa at this important moment. Thank you, Professor Kumaratunga, for your well-thought, articulated presentation on Udeni, Professor Nawagamuwa's growth. And then a special thank goes to Professor Ruwan Weerasekara. Professor Ruwan Weerasekara is the person who picked up, know the challenges of a person when he was young, and introduced Udeni, Professor Nawagamuwa, I'm sorry, I should not tell his name, Professor Nawagamuwa to SLAAS. Now, Professor Weerasekara's thoughts have come to bear fruits today. So he has become the leader of this organization. So special thanks should go to Professor Weerasekara for his thoughtful action done several years ago. And then other people who are here in this gathering. This gathering was a very pleasant one. But some people's names should not be read, but I will thank some organizations. One is the Prime Minister's Office, especially the Prime Minister's Security Division. Their work was meticulous, and I know that it was not that easy to arrange the security arrangements in this place. And they did it so marvelously, so they looked at the people's side. So I know that this place is now secure, and it is pleasant, and without their commitment, we might not have got this pleasant environment at this moment. Thank you very much for your commitment and work. And the Gall Hotel, this is business for them. But I know that they took this business with SLAAS as extraordinary. So they went extra mile in supporting us, looking after these arrangements, and then I believe that you all will also see this in the coming moments, how they have done marvelously well. And then I have to thank SLAAS office, who also worked long hours and helped us in organizing this event. So thank you very much, because it was a very hard time, so quick work to do and then talking with people. So it was very nice that they did it. So thank you, SLAAS office people. So I thank SLAAS members, you, and SLAAS office. So I think I have not lost anyone. So at the final thing, I should not thank Professor Nawagamuwa, because it's not customary to thank his event. But what I do is, I wish him all the success in his responsibility, in fulfilling his responsibility as General President of this year. And I know that all of us, here or outside, who has the affection to SLAAS and knows that SLAAS has a role in science, SLAAS has a role in people's lives of this country, and also the earth and the environment, and that means all the residents of this earth will support SLAAS in the coming year. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Welligamage, for proposing the vote of thanks in such a light-hearted manner. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the ceremonial induction is formally concluded. It has been a pleasure hosting you today, and I must wish the General President the very best for a really, really dynamic and fruitful year for all sciences, inclusive of social sciences, across the country. So let us change gears and get ready to enjoy this new leadership and join in fellowship. I hope the Prime Minister will continue to stay with us. I know it's been a hectic day, but we really hope that the Prime Minister, as well as Professor Gomika Udeni will join us for the rest of the evening and enjoy the scrumptious dinner. Thank you very much for your gracious presence, and I hope you continue to enjoy the rest of the evening.